Former Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi called the Poonch Terror attack, in which one IAF personnel was killed and 4 injured, a political stunt. The opposition said the same thing in 2019 after the Balakot strikes carried out as a retaliation for the Pulwama attack. 46 CRPF personnel were killed in that attack. Yesterday, Congress leader Vijay Wadettiwar said that Mumbai ATS chief Hemant Karkare was killed by an RSS-linked policeman and not by LET terrorist Ajmal Kasab. So why do politicians seek political gains ahead of national elections? Joining me to discuss this are my colleagues Kiran, Tare, Ashok, Bagaria and senior journalist Jayant Mainkar. Ashok, any surprises here? If there's a controversy, you have a politician jump into it, even if it's something that concerns national security.
Well, it's not really surprising because this has been the trend since 2019.
Right.
And at the moment, it looks like the field is open for all.
Yes.
And the worst part about bringing a national security narrative,
yes,
when you're talking about politics, is you do disservice not only to the nation,
yes,
but also to the sacrifice of
right,
the person who died while guarding the borders of
yes,
this country. Now, Charanjit Singh Channi, former Punjab Chief Minister,
yeah,
calling this attack, the Poonch attack, a political stunt.
Right.
Now, if somebody were to ask Channi, what evidence does he have to suggest that this is a political stunt?
Right.
He will have nowhere to go. He'll say
right,
that this is a political statement that I'm making.
Yes.
But what is important is to hear is that when you make such political statements,
right,
it cuts very deep.
Right.
You might make a political gain here and there.
Yes.
But you are compromising on national security,
yes,
and also undermining the sacrifice of the brave soldiers.
Absolutely,
of this
very
country.
important points there. And Jayant, I want to bring you in on this point that Ashok raised, the fact that, every time a politician raises these questions on national security, you're undermining the sacrifice of our soldiers who risked their lives and limbs to do what they did in the last few years, whether it's Balakot or whether it's fighting terror along the borders. Why do politicians not have a unified stance when it comes to national security? Why is everything up for discussion and debate and, including matters of national security?
No, I don't think so. It is possible because even for politicians, their survival in politics is more important, unfortunately.
Right.
Ahead of national interest, if I want to say,
yes,
unfortunately, it's a fact,
right,
and we need to accept that.
Right.
They are more interested in. Punjab is a border state,
yes,
so obviously always it faced a border conflict.
Right.
But it's former chief minister if he's saying like this. And the second problem,
yes,
which particularly I am facing as far as the BJP government has come at the center.
right,
None of them, particularly when there are allegations against the prime minister or whatever,
right,
prime minister is not ready to come out with clarification while talking to reporters.
right,
Like there are various allegations about Pathankot and all that,
yes,
wherever in 2019 that it took place. Except that whatever the government clarified, any other thing, nothing, no clarification has been made about that, and the allegations are still continuing.
yeah, allegations
As the
still
same
continuing.
case-
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And the same case is about Mr. Mushrif,
Yes.
the Hassan Mushrif's
Right.
brother. Hassan Mushrif
Yes.
was former Sharad Pawar AD. Then he went with Ajit Pawar, and now he is a
Right.
minister.
Right.
Now this Mushrif's elder brother, of
Yeah.
course, IPS officer,
Yes.
in his book, he
Yes.
wrote all these things. And what Mr. Wadettiwar, Vijay
Yeah.
Wadettiwar, leader of the opposition in Maharashtra Legislative
Yes.
Assembly, can easily summarize or defend himself. No. I just mentioned whatever that Mr. Mushrif,
Yes.
the IPS officer, has said. And that's all. He can clarify that. I have not gone beyond that. And these theories are in vogue. Since 2008, I have covered it. I know it.
Absolutely.
These
Yeah,
theories are
these conspiracy theories are afloat since 2008. And Kiran, you've been covering terrorism in Mumbai from 2008 onwards. Why is it that there are all these conspiracy theories that are still being floated? And we are aware of the fact that the Pakistan army went to extraordinary lengths to hide its involvement in these attacks, and they even created this parallel Hindu terror conspiracy that was being bandied about a few years back, right down to the fact that the terrorists who attacked Mumbai were carrying identity cards with Hindu names, and the fact that they were wearing red threads and all of that. Despite, and then you have Mr. Musharraf coming out saying that, you know, there are all these RSS-linked officers. Why is it still in the news after 15 years? Why have these, these speculations not laid to rest?
This is a very valid question, but I must tell the viewers that when Mr. Karkare was there, he had reached at the CST station. I was the first and the only journalist who had talked to him at that time.
Yes.
And after a short while, he was shot dead. So I had talked to Mr. Karkare on a very close range of topics on that particular night, and he had clearly told me that it was a terror attack and you should keep away from the CST station because your life is in danger. So the point here is that Mr. Karkare knew what he was doing. And unfortunately, the politicians, they don't know the sacrifice, how important the sacrifice of these brave martyrs are. When Mr. Wadettiwar is saying that some RSS-linked police officer, and he had named that police officer that he killed Mr. Karkare, but the same officer was posted at Marine Drive, and he was involved in the team, he was included in the team which captured Ajmal Kasab alive. So Wadettiwar should have confirmed, he should have verified what he's talking about. Even though he's referring to S.A. Musharraf's book, he is a responsible person, as a responsible politician, leader of the opposition in the Maharashtra Assembly, and he is expected to behave responsibly. Earlier, Maharashtra politicians used to be very studious, but now they are not using their brains. They are absolutely depending upon the WhatsApp messages. This kind of particular message was in circulation since Ujjwal Nikam's candidature has been announced. So my point here is that Wadettiwar, whether it's Wadettiwar or whether it's Channi, their target is the opponents. They are trying to gain some political points.
Political brownie points. Absolutely. Yes. And journalists have raised this issue a couple of times, at least since 2008, 26/11. Kiran, as he just mentioned, said there's absolutely no doubt in his mind that Mr. Hemant Karkare, who died fighting terrorists on that night of 26/11, told him very clearly that it was a terror attack, and he was going in. There's that visual of him, Kiran, I remember wearing that bulletproof vest and the helmet and going into battle, and he laid down his life. It's very unfortunate what happened, but what is equally unfortunate is the fact that the kind of political brownie points are being scored on those terror attacks of 26/11 or Pathankot. There seems to be very little unity when it comes to fighting terror, and that's possibly one of the reasons why terrorists have had a field run over the last couple of decades, because Indian politicians leave no stone unturned, Ashok, when it comes to scoring political brownie points, and that's the politics of terror at the most unfortunate and the lowest, the nadir of Indian political discourse that we've reached in this election. The 26/11 plot was to blame Indians for one of the most devastating terror strikes on Indian soil. Not just to blame them, but to give it a communal angle. The terrorists came wearing red threads on their wrists and carrying identity cards with Hindu names on. Pakistan almost got away with this, almost. But then Kasab was caught alive. Watch our story, The Hindu Terrorists, the Pakistan Army's 26/11 deception plan, only on the News9 Plus app.
Mumbai attacks were carried out by 10 seaborne terrorists in 2008.
The 10 terrorists were to sink their hijacked fishing trawler, the Kuber, with the GPS set inside. This was to destroy all evidence of their journey from Karachi.
And one of the details they had planned was to use these dhagas and with the fake identity cards to mislead the investigative agencies.
All this was to be presented as a Hindu terror.
But capture of one of the terrorists unraveled Pakistan's deception.
Streaming on News9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.